essential part of the IBTT. I think they as a cohort have had many barriers that they've had to overcome with closures and COVID, but still they found resourceful ways to complete this requirement. Still they are volunteering and helping on things like 1st of June, I heard, and shows that this is really something that becomes part of who you are as IB students. So let's give them a clap to say well done for coming here and presenting. And keep hearing all about your experiences.
Miss, you can go to the next one.
Now, to begin this project presentation, we would like to start with exactly what is CAS, what it stands for, what are the main principles of CAS. CAS stands for Creativity, Activity, and Service, which are the three principles surrounding the whole program. Especially in creativity, our task is provide students with the opportunity to explore their own sense of original thinking and expression. So, of course, focusing around on expressing yourself and doing more of the things you love. Activity, as it is obvious, circles around physical activity, well-being, health, and service is all about helping the community in its essence. And these are the three principles of CAS, which we'll be covering today more individually and what we have done to progress in those three categories.
So the CAS requirements, the main stable ones, are CAS experience, CAS stages, investigation, preparation, action, reflection, and demonstration.
Alright, so we organized the presentation into three main categories based on the shared experiences that we had with most members of the class. And the first one that we had together for creativity was applied arts. And unfortunately, that didn't end up running past around January of last year. And it was very spaced out the rest of the year because of COVID and because of lockdowns. But essentially, we participated in making decorations with our classmates. And they were hung around school. Many of you might have seen advertisements for like school-wide events, posters, Halloween, Baba Marta, Valentine's Day as well, and Easter. And our class were the ones who made all of the decorations for these.
So next is the activity section. For this one we got our Words of a Garden run, which was, we basically had the option to walk, jog, or run from monument to monument while taking photos and tracking our progress on an app called My Map Run, which basically tracks the amounts of kilometers and steps you take. We identified various authors, monuments in order to connect to the Bulgarian literature class, past lessons. And then finally we checked our progress in order to record distance, time, and speed of everyone's activity as well, so that the people in physics class could use the data.
So another part of our activity list in the class is our ski trip to Borovets. So together with some students from grade 11, we went on a ski trip with a sleepover to Borovets back in February. There we had the opportunity to not only ski but also bond as a class. We went night skiing, although some bumps happened along the way. This experience brought us closer together. The next day we went skiing again, and some of our classmates enjoyed skiing on the slopes until it got time for us to go back home. We also went bowling the day before the Christmas holiday this year. We went with students from lower classes as well as some of our teachers to play bowling. We played 2 games, it was a lot of fun, and we got to not only learn new skills because not all of us have been bowling before, but as well just bond with the class and play with our teachers and just see a different side of all of us outside of the classroom.
So for service, we did me actually and better. We went to Ekaterina Nencheva in the school and we did help a teacher there. And the lesson was with 2nd and 1st grade. And we wanted to teach them about words and how they can affect words, but how they also can affect them positively and negatively. So we did different activities. The first one was like really fun, which was like we stick papers to their back, and then each of the kids wrote something really nice on the back of the other kid, and they like kept the papers and they bring them home. And the second activity, we did different activity for second grade, not to be the same, but the second activity of drawing it was drawing picture about how to treat people, showing them that there's different people and that they shouldn't be treated differently. So they each drew like pictures. Here you can see like so yeah, you can see this is the first activity and the second activity. Yeah, I mean, but we basically helped
Throughout the year, we also had multiple trips to help supervise the primary school kids. And this specific day, we volunteered to help organize a couple like activities and sports for the kids. And we had different rooms and activities set up, and then the different classes would rotate through them all at certain intervals. And you know, different people worked in teams, and so we worked collaboratively in order to try and run everything smoothly while also giving the kids the opportunity to go to each station and actually have enough time at each one. And they had like finger painting, they had dodgeballs, they had some physical activities, and then some like more artistic ones.
For the 1st of June, there was like the International Children's Day, and 6 of us went in the morning to the kindergarten, and we did many activities for the pre-nursery and the nursery classes. And we played musical chairs, we did face painting, finger painting, and then in the afternoon we all went to the kindergarten. Oh no, the canteen, sorry. And we did a bake sale with food that the parents brought for us, and then the profit from the bake sale was utilized to purchase and put together different care packages for children with disabilities at the nearby hospital. And then there was a hiking day with the primary school summer program. So kids from the ages of 4 to 12 who participated in the BSS summer program, we went with them in Vitosa by bus, and we basically hiked and played many different games. The location was like a field with a playground, and with the small kids we played catch, and then with the big ones, the older ones, we played football, volleyball, and games like that.
So we also went to supervise the nursery and pre-nursery because there was parent-teacher conference, so we had to supervise them, and they were all outside and we were playing with them. And we also think of variety of other activities, trying to get them like few games they were playing, like tag, and they made this game which is like cops and robbers, where they basically put me in jail. I was robber, but basically we played a lot of games, and we were like trying to keep them all in one place, which was kind of hard, but we did it.
And throughout the first half of today, another British school floaty visited our school in order to spend a part of the early winter holidays with us. I hope various grades organized a bake sale in our school building, as well as various activities set up in different classrooms in advance. Since we also included the lower/nursery school in the celebration, our grade handlers and kindergartners from our school in particular, and a gingerbread house activity and a coloring/crafting activity were chosen for our room, and the children were able to both build and decorate their miniature gingerbread houses. Before, we printed various coloring and activity sheets for the children to draw on and color. And the students were also able to bring home their gingerbread creations and coloring pages at the end of the evening.
So we also went to the kindergarten to participate in the kindergarten planetarium and help the kids, the nursery and kindergarten classes in order to help them create, paint, and set up a planetarium for them to hang from the ceiling. And the children had been studying space up for quite a while, and there were planets in their science class. And because of that, a few teachers asked us to help string up a mobile with a few stars and with all the respective planets hanging down from this mobile. We also helped organize, we organized and helped the children as these classes in turn took turns. Took turns. Sorry, please. I can't speak. Took turn painting their own planets.
Another thing we did was organizing the animal shelter event. A few of my classmates, alongside members of grade 11, decided to initiate and plan an event in which we'll be collecting food and later donate it to an animal shelter called Shiro. We decided to do this in December, and we placed containers outside of each school building, the primary, lower, and secondary school, in order for students and their families to be able to donate. We also sent emails. Then we collected the donations in the middle of December before some of our peers in grade 11 had the opportunity to take a trip down to the shelter.
Now, on the 23rd of February of this year, sadly, a sad event happened to me and my country, which was, of course, the Russian invasion. And what the school has, thank you so much for it, decided to do is establish a temporary school for Ukrainian kids and of all ages to come and continue the education in what form they can. And together as a class, we have organized the initial start of the school funded by BSS and partners. We have demonstrated engagement of issues of global significance, which is a very important CAS principle, and we have started the education process by introducing the kids to common Bulgarian culture differences, which I have embraced as my personal CAS project. Now, moving on to the second part of our presentation is our individual projects, which is, now we're going to talk a little bit about the things we have done individually throughout this CAS program. To continue with the Ukrainian school, what my part and what my plan was is for the older kids who wish to spend maybe a longer time in Bulgaria, is because they've either already finished the Ukrainian education program and all of this happened in between their transition to university in Ukraine, or are finishing up right now. This is supposedly their 12th year and they might not be able to receive a diploma at this time or have some other problem. I have taken charge to introduce them to Bulgarian culture and maybe help them transition into this environment better. So as a class together outside of school hours with the Ukrainian kids, I have taken them on trips around Sofia twice, and we have had currently 10 sessions where we introduce the Ukrainian kids to Bulgarian practices. For example, one of the core things they didn't really take lightly upon is how in Bulgaria we say yes and no with the head turning, and that was the biggest problem for them to adjust. But I told them that it's not that serious, and most people have already switched to the common way of doing it. Next.
So for most of last year, Vessi and I were also working on an activity booklet because before we had started our IB journey, we had just come out of pandemic worldwide lockdown. And so we wanted to create a project to try and involve the younger kids with some of the older ones. And so we made a little activity booklet for children to do while they were bored in lockdown. Because throughout all of our grade 11 year, unfortunately we were put into lockdown several times because of rising COVID cases. And so we essentially had a few challenges with the online applications that we had to use in order to actually create the physical booklet. But other than that, you know, printing and actually brainstorming all of the ideas for the book they ran smoothly. So.
So next we're going to talk about our CAS project, the Model United Nations. We made our own start of a Model United Nations, and this was done with me, Joshua, and Fadi. Thank you, Fadi. So first we're going to talk about the learning outcomes. So the main objectives that we had with our Model UN, or MUN we call it, is demonstrate the engagement of issues in global significance. This this varies a lot from the problem of electricity and how it works with cars to whaling. And if you don't know what whaling is when usually in different seas, some fishermen just start killing whales because they have a very good oil that they can use for them. However, this destroys the whale population as there's not a lot, and they take a long time to breed. Next, so demonstrate the skills and recognize the benefits of working collaboratively. So this was done with me, Joshua, and Fadi. However, this was a little bit difficult because they started this on their own, and then I joined the school a little bit later. So I had to join from what they had already started, and I had to try and put my input and make sure that I was on par with what they were doing. Next was the identify their own strength and develop areas for growth. I just mentioned how I had done it. They had done it before me, obviously, and I was nicely incorporated into this process. Next is going to be recognize and consider the ethics, choices, and actions. This goes back to our main issues currently were whaling and the issues with gas prices and how nuclear electricity. Thank you. Nuclear energy. I can't speak today. Nuclear energy is affecting how cars are supposed to be ethical, even though they're kind of creating waste that can be killing way more people than just normal gas-fueled cars. Next, we will talk about the achievements, and we're gonna get into that a bit more into detail later. But we basically, because of the first of all, the initial idea was we were gonna establish a club, and however, the obstacles were that not many people would like to join, and it was impossible to find time together. And we were also not used to the system. Some of us, especially me, we still learned about the Model UN and how it works. And there were those who did join, but they didn't want their faces to get shown on a picture. And so we decided, after a lot of discussion with all of us, that we were going to create an Instagram page for the Model UN, talking about these issues. And our achievements were, we've gotten 293 followers, and we have 5 proposals, and it still keeps increasing, and we've gotten at least over 500 likes.
Yeah, and my responsibility in this project is making presentations, and the presentation I'm making today is about proposal about women education, and you can't see. And yeah, I'm thinking to put the background and the history about something related to the education, and proposal I'm making, I'm planning to make tomorrow is about the official languages in the UN. As we know, we have 6 languages as official languages in the UN: English, French, Spanish, Arabic, Chinese, and Russian. And we are thinking to make an African language as a new official language in the UN. And yeah, we will make some debate online, and we will also put some relevant or some related reasoning, and then we will the result to make how the UN works in reality.
So one of the main reasons why we switched to an Instagram account rather than either having posts online or trying to have our own meetings around every weekly, first is because there's a very diverse community, and it's a lot more flexible for us to be able to pitch our ideas as a group and then post it on the Instagram story. And then from the likes we get, from the comments, and from the discussions that we get from those people, all of the different diverse communities can input their own ideas, and we can go from there on working on either a solution or just general ideas that could possibly even help the
official MUN. And also an Instagram account is a lot more frequent as it's mobile. You can access it from anywhere. People can go from home and access it, or they can be on the train station and access it. This makes it a lot easier for it to be public and for a lot of people to be able to recognize like what we are working on and how it is currently doing. And that's going to be it. Next is just some other projects. Sorry.
Oh, it's us. Me, Sophie, and Iveta, we wanted to do the yearbook for 11th and 12th grade, but only us, like the 2 years course, I think, because we have like really good relationships between the class, and I think we wanted to like have photos and keep memories, yeah, like.
We wanted to make
that.
an album so we can look back in, for example, 5-10 years and see how much we've changed and how close we were and what kind of class we were.
But we're not done with it yet. We're still designing.
We will be done with it.
We're
We have
collecting
many
photos.
pictures.
But yes, it's on the way.
Yeah. One of my other individual projects is I've been working with the kindergarten. Actually, me and Vessi have been visiting the kindergarten every week since grade 11. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic and I moved to Greece for some time, I wasn't able to be as consistent as I'd like to. But it's been a really wonderful experience because I've gotten to not only meet these amazing children, play with them, read books to them, do all sorts of activities with them, but I've also helped the teachers, and I've seen how hard it actually is to be in their position, and you have all these little kids that actually depend on you, and you have to, you know, be a good influence and show them something good. But as a whole, throughout this experience, it's been a really, really wonderful experience, and I'll finish it probably on the 1st of June. We'll make for the Kids Day, we'll probably make some kind of an event, but it's not completed yet.
Yours is very interesting, and it will be a shame not to
Thank
hear
you,
a bit
miss.
about it.
So my project is about Ukrainian refugees. We have more than 1,000 people in our hotels, and me and my mother, we're helping them. So I'm going buying food for them every day. I'm traveling from Burgas to Primorsku more than a time a day. Also, I'm helping my mother with the documents. With every Ukrainian guy, I'm going to the police station and telling them that he will stay here with us because the government wants all those documents. I developed some different skills like time management and team working. That's it.
Does anyone have any questions? I would like to say, now that I saw it in its entirety, sometimes we forget what a journey it was actually from the beginning of grade 11 to grade 12, and the challenges of perhaps refugees and being really involved in that. It was really nice to hear you having had the opportunity to help, and personally I saw a big change in you when you started volunteering there and helping so much with the school. So I think for each of you it's been really, as much as it's been frustrating at times because the fun CAS things like the Halloween party didn't happen and the trips got cancelled and Miss, it's not fair, COVID ruined CAS for us. You've actually, and the animal shelter, you've actually managed to do lots of things. And perhaps that's a lesson in itself that sometimes things are not always easy and plans don't always go according to how we want them to. And even though the things are not quite finished for the 1st of June deadline, I can see in all of you that you have addressed those different strands and it's nice to see that you want to still finish the things that you've started. Okay, so thank you everyone for making that little push and perhaps reflecting on what you've done for the last 2 years. I hope you feel proud.